like to know a little bit more of me, how I get to be here. Well, I grew up in a Christian family. My parents are from Colombia, and they immigrated to Venezuela, and then they formed a family, and my siblings and I born in Venezuela. Um, that was in the 70s. And yeah, later my father, we grew up with the Mennonite Church, mostly from Lancaster Conference, missionaries that visit Venezuela and decided it was a good place to establish Anabaptist congregations. So my father was invited to be a pastor in Los Angeles, in California. So we moved in the 90s to Los Angeles. I'm the oldest of 5 kids. I have 4 brothers. And we started, growing here, and I got married shortly after we moved. 3 years after we moved to the United States, I got married. My husband, Eric Martinez, Vicky, and hi. Her husband know my family because we have a lot of, well, I think we have a couple of interactions in one of their assemblies. And so we got married, and we have 4 kids: Susana, Eric, Suzette, and Nicole, 26, 23, and 19 years old. The youngest ones are twins. So we always had the passion for the Anabaptist theology, not because it's a good theology, but because it was real in our lives, growing up in the environment that we grew up in Venezuela. My father is a church planter by heart, so we have to move from places to places when I was younger because he was planting churches, and of course we support his ministry. So when we came to the United States, it was like another place to be, except that we didn't know the language or the customs and many other things. So I decided to help my parents. When we came to the United States, the spend that my father got was like $500 a month. So for a family, a big family, we were 7, was not enough. So we stayed in one of the Sunday school classrooms in the church until my mom find a job, and we will be able to move like we used to be, in the house with everything that is needed. I remember my brother at the time, he was 13, and he told my father, "This is the American dream that you brought us to? This don't look like a dream, more like a nightmare." And that dream looks like a nightmare to be here in the United States. But we affirmed my father's call to be a pastor and to come here. Oh, sorry, to come here to serve. So that's how we ended up in the United States. And later, I was always part of the leadership of the congregation, serving. Like I say, I was the dog, the shepherd, barking every time we see something dangerous, or try to keep the church, in the best possible way to serve and to be safe for others. So we moved to Texas from my husband and I. We moved to Texas in 2006. My husband has a transfer from his job, so we moved, and we were looking for a congregation to be part of. And I feel called to serve in a congregation that was just planting in north of Dallas. And that's how I started, working with the conference and the church planting in make it more official in 2008. So I started working as an administrative assistant for Western District in 2008. I served with 3 different conference ministers before me. After Byron Pellicer, that I like to hear, Amor resigned in 2020, the conference was looking for a associate conference minister. And I don't know who had the great idea to call me, but I was kind of doing the job already, so I say, why not, right? That's what we answered when God called us. But I have to admit that reflecting back and all the experience that I have with church planting and the congregations and pastors really was preparing me to serve in this position. Because I was working with pastors for 14 years before I got this position. So we grew some relationship. So I get to know the congregations and some of you, in interactions with the assembly and things like that. So it was when I received the call to the offer for this position, I was not surprised that God was calling me to something that was maybe not what I was expecting to do. Because I was comfortable serving the Hispanic Mennonite Church as a executive director and serving the conference as administrative assistant. So I was thinking that was what I was doing a good job. So when I received this call, I said, what do you want with me, God? But I feel in my heart that it was a time to walk with my brothers and sister pastors in a different capacity. And it's been a good journey to see congregations flourish since church planters and now established congregation, and see our pastors thriving in their ministry. And they're struggling too, but work together. So I feel like this is not just a job, but it's a bless in my life, in my family life, to walk with so many of those people that really love the church and give more than just 40 hours or 50 hours a week as a job, but their heart and to see congregations flourish. So I'm extremely blessed to be part of this journey with the congregations. And now with the church plant, which is something that I was in my DNA since I was younger. I remember when I was 16 and my father has to go to Semilla. Some of you are familiar with Semilla, which is an Baptist seminary in Central America. And he has to take a longer class, and he was the executive director, or will be the executive director for the Mennonite Church in Venezuela. And he's supposed to name somebody to lead one of the meetings. And he said, well, Sandra would lead the meeting. And I was 16. And I have to deal with a lot of people there way older than me. And I told there couldn't be a position that I will lead that meeting. It wasn't a custom that, somebody, the president appoint one of their kids or something like that, so I was surprised, and I said, everybody's gonna say no. And everybody said yes. We want Sandra to be the moderator for the meeting because she's getting ready to serve. So that was the first time that I see God at work said, that he wanted me to start supporting pastors and congregations more than anything. So now that I reflect back, I say, wow, I didn't know what God had in stores for me. Now I'm 50, about to be 50, and I see how God's preparing